A little bit everything. Yeah, that's kind of what I need too. Um, yeah, and I've been practicing, but it's been kind of just for recovery and keeping the blood flowing, that kind of thing. All right, taking the last sip. All right, and then John, if you could mute yourself.
Oh,
Um, if I walk back to the other side of the room, I'll never find the actual bud anyway. So, all right, so let's start at the top of the mat. And let's keep our feet right now just about hips width. So stable, little bend in the knees so you feel rooted. And let's just reach the shoulders up toward the ears and exhale them back and down. And we'll do this a few times. Think about your elbows as you're doing this. When you're bringing your shoulders forward and up, your elbows are kind of poking forward. And then when you go back, your elbows are going to draw together a little bit so that you feel your chest open. So it's just a way to roll the shoulders while you're being a little bit more dramatic. We'll just take one more like that. And this comes in handy when you're doing back bend things if you know how to articulate this aspect of your chest. Let's reach the arms up and we'll straighten the legs as much as they'll straighten for an inhale. And let's fold, bend the knees, touch the floor, let your chest rest on your thighs. Just shake out your head for a moment, just a gentle, like shaking no or nodding yes. And with the knees bent, let's start rolling up. Press down into your heels and bring your belly button up toward your spine so that you feel your mid back get some kind of action. And with straight legs, we'll reach up again for an inhale. And we'll fold and bend the knees, rest the chest on the legs again, drop the head. This time, reach your fingers to the left edge of your mat with both hands and straighten your right leg as much as you can. And you'll wind up with a stretch through the right side body, the IT band on that right leg. Your right leg may be fully straight or maybe not, but as long as you're pushing through that right foot, it's going to work. And let's come through center with both legs bent. Drop your head, walk your fingers over toward the right side of the mat. Straighten the left leg as much as you can. I do a little extra shoulder shrug with that left shoulder just to kind of exaggerate the stretch on the left. And with knees bent, we'll come through center, drop the head, press into your heels, start rolling up again. Maybe shake out your arms a little as you roll up because tension creeps back in real quick if we're not paying attention. And we'll reach up for an inhale. Fold for the exhale. This time, let's put the palms flat on the ground. So your knees can be as bent as you need in order to get your palms down in front of your feet. Just step to plank. We'll hang out here in plank for a few breaths. If you need your knees down, just put them down, no big deal. Our arms are straight and we're pushing into our pointer fingers and our thumbs. Good. And downward dog for the exhale whenever you're ready to exhale. Return to plank for the inhale. Two more times like that. And you'll notice that when you're in plank, it's pretty easy to keep the weight on that pointer finger edge of the hand. When you go to down dog, it takes a lot more attention. Let's meet again in plank so that we can gently lower the knees for tabletop. And let's flip the hands to face our knees. And if this is too much for you, just don't do that portion of it and just keep your hands facing front. You're going to wind up with a pretty big forearm stretch. From here, we'll try some cat-cow. So we inhale to arch and we exhale to round. And if your wrists or forearms are killing you with this position, just do normal cat-cows with your hands facing front. But regardless of which position you're doing with the hands, we're going to get our spine to change shape by using our low belly and our pelvic floor. So this motion is all initiated with the pelvis tilting to one degree or the other. The rest of the spine just sort of follows suit. Now, next time you're passing through neutral, let's flip the hands around again if you have gone backwards. Then we'll come down to the forearms so that we can step back to forearm plank and still be in the core but be off the wrists. If this is going well for you and you want to add a little complexity, bring the feet together so your ankle bones touch. Dip your right hip toward the floor. And then like a little rainbow, we make our hips come up and over to the other side so the left hip drips toward the floor. So you'll just make these little arcs going back and forth. Sometimes it's called the tick-tock. Just the hips move side to side. And you're going to feel your side abs working really hard to get you up and over. It's almost like there's a block on your mat underneath your pelvis, and you're just going up and over that block. You have it, Santosha. And let's walk into down dog B. We'll just move our feet a little closer to our elbows so that our butt lifts up and we wind up in a V shape. And let's straighten the arms for a regular downward dog. I wound up a bit off my mat, so then I'll just walk back a little bit. And after your exhale, either step, walk, or jump feet to hands so that you can inhale towards straighter legs. And we'll exhale to fold. Let's bend into the knees, reach the arms up for an inhale. And let's keep our knees bent, but sweep the arms back. Fingers may or may not graze the floor, and then we'll get the palms to press up toward the ceiling. So we're leaning forward here, and let's try to bring our belly in so that it's not just kind of like on our thighs, just hanging out. So we'll go back and forth from here to Utkatasana. So we'll sweep the arms up. We reach up, look up. This is a back bend. And we'll fold a bit forward. We'll sweep the arms back. We're still trying to draw the belly in, but it's a forward bend. 2 more times like that. So you're going to feel your thighs start to sort of burn a little bit. Don't worry, it's temporary. We just have a few more breaths like this. You could do anything for a few more breaths. Just regulate your mood a bit. And we'll meet again in this Utkatasana so that we can then straighten the legs all the way. Let's hold opposite elbows and wiggle the feet a little bit further apart. Side bending over to the right. We'll reach with our left elbow. And we'll inhale through center. Side bending to the left. Reach out with your right elbow. Through center for an inhale. One more time each side. And when we come through center, it's like your forearms are trying to touch the ceiling so you're real tall. That's going to put less stress on the low back. It'll feel much more organized. Let's release the grip and we'll fold forward for an exhale. Halfway up for an inhale. Let's just send our left foot back for the exhale. So we're just in a lunge, right foot forward. Left palm flat, simple twist. Right arm up, inhale. And let's untwist, exhale. High lunge, inhale. Arms will reach up. Hands will come down for the exhale. So we just tested our balance. Simple twist again, right arm up. Inhale, we look up at the thumbs. Exhale, right hand comes down. Test your balance. Squeeze your thighs as you rise up. Reach for the ceiling. Exhale, hands come down. Just one more cycle like that. Simple twist. We stack right arm on top of left. Untwist. We energize our thighs. We inhale, high lunge. And we exhale, hands to the floor. Good. Let's just step to plank. We'll hang out in plank for a moment. We're going to go back and forth between plank and down dog again. Some of you might want to include your knees a bit here. So let's press to down dog for the exhale. When you come forward to plank again, maybe bring your right knee to your elbow. And normal down dog. And maybe left knee to elbow as you come to your plank again. And we press to down dog. One more time, each side, I should say. So it's really 2 more times. Those of you who are not involving your legs, definitely you'll be thinking of it as 2 more times. And we'll all meet in downward dog so that we can start walking our feet forward toward our hands. And when you get there, inhale, chest forward. Exhale to fold, drop your head. Utkatasana, lift the arms. This time we'll bring our arms in front of us. Let's get our feet together so that the knees can press together. And we're just going to try to lift our heels off the ground. Ankle bones will touch so that you have this midline being squeezed as much as possible. The heels might come up a lot, they might come up a little. You can bend your knees as much as you want to. And we'll try to keep the heels off the ground in your releve as we reach up. And then we'll lower the heels to the floor. Steeple mudra. Interlace the fingers, reach the arms up, maybe wedge your head a little bit forward so that your arms can now go behind and you're squeezing the arms into your head. Inhale here to point to the ceiling a little more and then reach to the right. Side bending. We inhale through center and we exhale to the other side. We inhale through center like we're going to touch the ceiling. Reach to the right, exhale. Inhale through center as tall as you can be. Exhale to the other side. Good. Inhale through center and we'll release the grip, fold. Feels kind of great in the shoulders to get that done. Inhale halfway. Right foot back for our lunge. Just check that your knee is over your ankle. Good. Simple twist. Keep the knee over the ankle. Left arm up. Inhale. Untwist. Exhale. Without changing the legs. High lunge. Inhale. And hands come down. Exhale. Good. Left arm up again. Inhale. And exhale. Untwist. High lunge. Keep the ball of that left foot energized to the floor. Exhale. Hands down. Good. Twist one more time. The ball of that foot is going to keep the knee over the ankle without letting it splay. Last high lunge here. And hands come down. Good. We'll meet in our plank. This time we'll lower down all the way to the belly. You can put the knees down first if you want. Just somehow get on down there. And let's prop up into Sphinx pose. So we just have our elbows a little bit in front of our shoulders. And there's this idea that we're pulling ourselves forward. The sticky mat is not going to allow you to pull yourself forward, but it'll still work. The traction will be done, even though you're not actually moving. But if you love it, lift the elbows an inch or so off the floor, roll the shoulders back. If you feel any iffiness or hesitation, don't do that. It took me probably 12 years to feel comfortable doing this. Because you know, back bends are not my jam. Okay, let's lower all the way to the chest. Slide the hands back toward the sort of shoulders or chest. And turn the hands out just a little bit so that you can feel your elbows squeeze in more toward your ribs. Then rise up to your cobra or upward dog. And press to downward dog. And flip the hands to face forward again if you had them turned out quite a bit. And let's start to walk the feet forward toward the hands. Inhale whenever you get there. Exhale to fold. Bend into the knees. Utkatasana. This time we'll bring the hands to prayer, and as we straighten the legs, bring the left knee up to the chest. And return to your Utkatasana. So the feet are together, we lower our butt and we reach up. And let's return to standing. We power up that right leg. We peel that left foot off the floor. We'll just do this one more time. So we articulate the foot on its way down. And on the way back to standing, we go heel up. Then the ball of the foot presses. Then the toe goes up. Good. Warrior 3. Let's reach our arms back with our palms facing up. How you did it in that chair pose before. And think of pressing your palms up to the ceiling. You're going to feel your triceps work. Good. Let's point the left toes. And gently step to your lunge. If your left foot doesn't land where you want initially, just move it until it's in a good spot. And we'll reach the arms up. Good. Little bend in the back leg. Open up to your twist. We're just going to stay here for a few breaths. If your neck feels weird at all, just maybe stay looking forward. If you want to deepen your twist a bit, maybe look at your right hand. But either way, we got to try to keep that right knee over the ankle. So your foot has to be super rooted. Don't let that right foot wiggle. Okay, we're going to untwist to our high lunge. Bring the hands to prayer. And return to your warrior three with your hands in prayer. See if anything is different. You can give your chest a little nudge forward with your thumb. And that nudge forward makes it easier to balance. Good, let's rise all the way to standing. Just release your left foot to the floor and shake it out because your right glute just did a whole lot. Okay, side two. Oh, Lordy, what have we gotten ourselves into? We'll bend into the knees. We'll reach up for an inhale. And we'll bring our hands to prayer. Peel the right foot off the floor. Lift the knee as high as you can. 2 more times. We lower as low as we can. And we peel that foot up. Left leg straight, right knee up. 1 more time like this. Just nice and calm. We're just practicing how that left foot can control a lot of our balance. And then we come into warrior three, right leg is back. Hands will reach back with the palms up. Good, let's try to get that right hip down a bit, but then the right leg up a bit. So it's a very different position than in Ardha Chandrasana. This position is annoying compared to Ardha Chandrasana. It's so hard. Okay, big step back, high lunge. Adjust your feet if they feel awkward. And then we twist. The little bend in the back knee is just to help us get our pelvis more neutral. So then it's a little more comfortable to twist. So with that bend in the back knee, you can think more pubic bone up. And that is your Uddiyana Bandha. But that's a lot of syllables. So don't really worry about the name of that. Just think pubic bone up, like there's a little zipper going pubic bone to belly button. Okay, we'll untwist. Hands to prayer so that we can find warrior three, style number 2. There's 1,000 ways that you could do your arms for warrior three. Just notice how do you feel with your thumb on the chest or sternum, giving you like a little nudge forward. Good. And then we'll rise all the way to stand and we'll shake it out. Now the left butt cheek feels like a little something happened. Okay, feet together again. Bend into the knees. Utkatasana. If you have any knee issues, stay put. If you have no knee issues, come into your squat. Ideally in your squat, your heels are still on the floor. That may or may not be possible. But there's a lot of leaning forward that happens. Otherwise, you end up with your butt on the ground. Let's return to Utkatasana. So we'll meet up with our friends that stayed there. And let's bring our hands to our hips, left knee into the chest. So we're just going to go back and forth from essentially here to warrior three. So either stay right here or first extend your leg forward. Then rebend your left leg if it went straight, and let's kick it back. Chest forward. Hands on the hips are just going to help us keep our hips square. Then we'll return to our standing place, knee to chest, or leg straight. And we'll kick it back again to our warrior three, keeping that left hip level with the right. That's really hard to do. It wants to lift. Try not to let it. 1 more time. Either knee to chest, standing, or leg extends. And last warrior three. You might have to kind of manipulate with your hands on your hips to get that left hip down. And let's step back for warrior one. You could always be in a high lunge instead because this is really hard. And let's take hold of opposite elbows. Pull the elbows back. And like when you did the side bends before, we're going to think forearms to the ceiling so that you're clearing your head. If I don't think forearms to the ceiling, I wind up with my forearms kind of stuck at my forehead. So we want to go up and over. Then you get into your shoulders a little more. It makes back bends easier. It makes Pincha Mayurasana easier. Okay, let's release the hands of vinyasa. Or skip it. Just meet us in downward dog. And when you get to dog, you might want to wiggle around a bunch. Now let's start slowly maneuvering our way toward the top of the mat. Tons of ways to get there. It's all choreography. Whenever you're there, inhale. And we fold, exhale. Utkatasana. Knees bend, arms come up. And then notice if you're going deeper into your squat, you reach your arms forward so that you don't fall on your butt. You can even hug your legs with your arms. You can even put your hands on the floor so that you don't fall back. That's a good way to practice getting low. Okay, we'll return all the way to Utkatasana and then all the way to standing with our hands on our hips and our right knee up. However high you can get it without falling over, and you're not leaning to the side, you're just shoulders over hips. Maybe extend your leg forward, and we'll bend the knee if you have it straight, and we'll reach to warrior three. Right toes trying to touch that wall behind you. Good. Rise up again. Shoulders over hips. Leg may or may not extend. And then we'll take it back again. We're trying to get the shoulders now to hip height. So we're just making a T shape. Good. One more time. And go as slow as you need to so that you can keep your balance. Also, if you bend your standing leg, it's easier to balance. And that standing leg could totally be bent. It's not going to detract from your pose. More important to keep your right hip low. Good. Let's meet in warrior one. Holding opposite elbow, the way that feels a little weird. I always grab the same way, so it's real obvious to me which way feels weird, but sometimes when you switch sides, you feel the same. So it's nice. If you feel the same, that means you're balanced, at least in one little part. Let's get the right leg a little straighter so the right hip can move forward another inch. Good. Okay, nice. So let's release the hands, vinyasa. We're going to meet in down dog B this time. That's just down dog on the forearms. Ideally, when we do down dog on the forearms, the hands are still in the same spot. We just lowered the elbows to the mat so that they're behind the wrist. If you have really tight shoulders, you might find that your thumbs wind up touching each other in the center of your mat. One way to sort of combat that is to put a block between your hands. Eventually, that wouldn't be necessary, but sometimes for a couple decades, it is necessary. Okay, let's re-straighten the arms. And we'll start moving our feet toward our hands somehow, so that at the top of the mat we can inhale, and we'll fold for an exhale. Let's bend the knees for our Utkatasana, and the hands to prayer. Thumbs sort of touching the sternum so that you have this point of contact. Left ankle to lower right thigh. And like when we tried to come into our squat, we're going to lean forward a little bit. That's going to let us bend our right knee more. So our butt is counterbalanced by our shoulders. We call this standing pigeon because essentially your left leg is doing pigeon. We'll take one more breath here. And we'll rise up and step back to our lunge so that we can turn it into warrior two. Try to keep your right foot where you had it and do all the adjustments with your back foot. So it's a heel to arch alignment. We make it so our left foot is kind of making a T shape with the right heel. Let's straighten that right leg as much as we can. We inhale and bend, exhale. Oh, crack pop. 2 more times. I had a full practice in the airport in Houston because we had a long layover. Tom was so embarrassed because I was doing all these things. But I don't care. Let's put our right elbow on the left thigh, or right thigh, and reach the left arm behind the back. See if you can grab hold of your right thigh with your left fingers. You might wind up with your knuckles by your low back. That's fine too. Either stay here or place your right hand on the big toe side of your foot. This is a half bound Parsvakonasana. Getting into your hip and your shoulder. Try rolling that left shoulder back a little more and bring your chin to your left shoulder. At the same time as all this is happening, see if you can get your right hip underneath you a little more. Good. And let's unravel our arms. We're just going to lift our left heel off the ground and be in a lunge with our fingertips all down there for support. Now let's walk our fingers forward. Just lift the left leg off the ground. So the leg essentially is doing your warrior 3 stuff that you did before, but your fingers are your support. And Anthea, lower your left hip a little bit more. But either stay like this or right arm up. This is a twisted Ardha Chandrasana. The hard part is that when we start lifting our right arm and shoulder, our left hip wants to drop. But we didn't let it drop in Warrior 3, so we're not going to let it drop here. We're going to think, lift left hip up to right shoulder. Okay, and let's unravel our twist. Left foot meets right foot. We inhale. And let's fold, bend the knees, exhale. Start to roll up to standing. Maybe shake out your arms as you roll so that there's no tension creeping in. And we'll reach up for an inhale. Hands to prayer, right ankle to lower left thigh. Standing pigeon side 2, we stick our butt out. And we lean our shoulders forward. The more you bend your left leg, the easier the balance is going to be. Flex that right foot. Okay, and we'll slowly make our way to Warrior 2. So big step back with the right foot, then we adjust as needed to get our hip bones and our collarbones to face the long edge of the mat. But with this knee still reaching to the left, so the knee is not dropping in at all. Let's straighten the left leg as much as we can. Inhale, bend, exhale. 2 more times. And on this last one, we'll place the elbow on the thigh so that we can bring our right arm behind the back. We'll try to grab on. We'll decide, is this enough hip stretch? Do we want more? If you want more, lower your hand. You can always put your hand on the block to make it a little bit more, but not quite as much. Right shoulder and chin are close together as we lean that right shoulder back. Left hip moves underneath us. Okay, and let's unravel it so we can walk the fingers forward, launch the right leg off the ground, and just feel yourself in that Warrior 3 shape for a moment with the legs. Keeping that as it is, left arm up if you want. So think of the left shoulder and the right hip having a meeting. Sometimes I'll reach that top arm over to the other hip and lift that hip up just to prevent it from dropping down. Good, and let's unravel, feet together, bend into the knees and start to roll up. Drop the head. So just as you shake out the arms on your way up, you might have to do the same with your head because tension just goes right back in sometimes. Okay, let's take a little step back so that you have more room at the front of your mat. We're just going to find out Bakasana. And if you're not arm balancing because of any wrist issues, You can meet us in down dog and maybe do some forearm dogs in the meantime, or forearm planks, even better. So when you're in your Bakasana, let's practice bending and straightening the elbows. So we're going to be a little closer to the floor with a flat back when the elbows are bent. And we'll be a little further from the floor with a more rounded back when the arms move a little straighter. So just start to attempt going back and forth between these shapes with varying degrees of bend in the elbows. And we're all going to have a different sort of range there. The gaze will always pretty much be forward. Okay, and let's meet in a straight arm downward dog when you've had enough of such things. Santosha, we got to get your knees more to the sort of this part of your arm. Instead of on the outside by the elbows, they got to be a little higher and not quite as far out. So you can even think knee into armpit. Yeah, that'll be better. And knee into armpit really is like the textbook way to do it, but sometimes it doesn't feel so great. So you won't see me doing it that way often, but it helps to think of it that way.
How does it balance and your arm never slip off?
So it's a lot of squeezing the knees in toward each other. And you have shorts on, so that also is a factor, like a legit factor. You almost have to think of, okay, now they're pants. You have to almost think of going into handstand and lifting yourself up. Even though you're not going to go into a handstand, that idea of up prevents you from sliding off. Yeah, and you got to lean forward a little more. We'll try that again in a few minutes. Okay, so from downward dog, let's bring our right foot between the hands. And we'll lower our left knee down, Anjaneyasana style. And let's bring our right foot, let's make it turn out a bit so that life will be easier here. This is a version of lizard. We'll have our hands inside of the foot and the right toes will face some diagonal on the right side. So we're just going to circle that right arm up and around. We'll bend our back leg. We may or may not touch our foot. And then we'll undo the circle and undo that back leg bend. Let's do that 2 more times. So as we're reaching back, our left knee bends. And then as we untwist, our left leg straightens. So this is just training us that left hamstring is bending our knee and bringing the foot to the hand. Then let's unravel ourselves. Turn that right foot to face front again. High lunge, we'll lift the left knee. We'll lift the arms. Open it up, warrior 2 for triangle pose. We'll straighten that right leg, make any adjustments you need in the feet so that you can reach out and down. That right hand could be on the shin, the block, the big toe, or sometimes like a little tripod with the fingers is nice on the ground. Good. So keep everything you have except turn your left palm to face front and press down so that your left arm now extends out over your head. Palm facing the ground. Stare at your palm if you can. And you'll get this great side stretch. Good. And let's come all the way to stand so that we can find Ardha Chandra Chapasana. So starts just like Ardha Chandrasana. We slide forward, lift that left leg, then bend your left leg so that your heel's close to your butt. Reach back for your foot. So your arm didn't have to do a whole lot of flailing around back there because you bent your knee and you brought your foot to your hand. One more breath here. Try to kick into your hand. Good, and let's unravel. We're going to meet in our Anjaneyasana again. And this time a prayer twist. So we'll walk the hands up to the right thigh. We'll roll the flesh of the thigh in as we bring that left arm outside the leg. Palms together. Left knee can stay down or you'll lift it up. You decide. Perhaps you can look up at the ceiling that's right over you. That'll be like a chin to right shoulder scenario. And hopefully you feel this in your right hip and glute. If you're not feeling it in your right hip or glute, try to bring your right hip a little closer to your left ankle. Like visualize it sliding back. Okay, let's unravel ourselves. Palms flat, right leg to the ceiling in three-legged downward dog. Either stay here or bring your right knee to your elbow in plank. Either stay there or slide your knee down to your wrist and then hoist it up to your elbow again. Slide it down to your wrist. Hoist it up to your elbow. One more time if you're doing that movement. And then we're all just going to meet in a regular downward dog with 2 feet on the floor, 2 hands on the floor, wiggle around how you need to. And let's bring our left foot forward to the hands, right knee down, Anjaneyasana. And we turn it into lizard by spinning that left foot out a little bit, hands inside the foot. This is just going to make it a little bit more accessible to get our back foot with our left hand. So we're going to reach forward in that big circle, bend your right leg, attempt to touch your foot, and undo your twist, release your back leg. 2 more times. You could always look back there and see, like, how far away is the foot? What else can you do to make that connection possible? Good. And then that 3rd time, we'll let it go. We'll spin that left foot front again so we can come to high lunge. And this is just how we're getting into triangle high lunge to warrior 2. And we straighten that left leg, make the feet the distance that you love, reach out and down. And we got to keep the ball of that left foot pushing down. Because when we go to take this to that Ardha Chandra Chapasana, if your left big toe and ball of foot are not pushing down, you're going to fall backwards. It's not that fun to fall back. So right arm's going to reach over the ear first so we can get our side stretch. Emphasize that back foot pushing so that you can reach a little more against that push. Okay, and we start to rise up. Ardha Chandrasana, little bend in that left leg. Push off with the right foot. Left fingers on the floor or on your block. And bend your right leg, kick yourself in the butt. Get your grip, hand to foot or ankle. Once you got your grip comfy, roll your right shoulder and start to kick. The more you kick, the more weight you need on the ball of that left foot. And then Carolyn, open your chest more to the side as opposed to down. Yes. Good. And let's unravel ourselves. We step to our Anjaneyasana again. So that right foot moves back, right knee comes down. We walk our hands up to the thigh. Roll the flesh in so that you have a better shot at getting your armpit all the way onto your leg. If you're just hooking your elbow, it's still going to work. But then there's this big gap here, and it's kind of a missed opportunity. So you just get as far over as you can, and then your twist is a little bit more challenging. So one of the challenges with twists is how to breathe. So we want it to be hard enough that breath is in the forefront of your mind, but not so hard that you can't achieve a slow, steady breath. Back knee up if you had it on side 1. Look up if you did on side 1. Good. And let's slowly get out of there. 3-legged downward dog. So that left foot just slides back and up. And we either stay there or we bring the knee to the elbow. Don't let the left toes touch the floor. Either stay there or knee to the wrist, and knee to the elbow again. 2 more times if you're moving back and forth. Arms are going to stay straight. Good. And let's all just meet in a regular down dog whenever it's convenient for you to get there. Let's start to walk the feet forward toward the hands. When you get kind of close, spread your feet a bit wide and come into your squat. So your toes might like dangle off the edges of the mat. This is a good place to sit on a block or a series of blocks, or to be up here if your knees hurt. The idea here is to keep your knees tracking over your middle toes. So regardless of what your arms do, the knees don't drop in like this. They're still pushing back. Good. So either keep practicing that, or we're going to come into our Bakasana again. So if you're coming into Bakasana, turn the feet forward, knees toward armpits, and keep leaning forward until you feel like your tippy toes just can't stay down anymore. And then they're going to touch each other, and you'll squeeze your heels up toward your butt. So it's the same hamstring work that you did when you were in your Anjaneyasana reaching back. Your hamstrings are going to bring your feet up toward your butt. And the gaze has to be forward. Okay. And let's meet on our butts with the legs straight out in front of us. Normally, Dandasana is palms down, but let's go knuckles down so that we can stretch through the forearm in a different way. Shoulders roll back, and we're just sitting shoulders over hips. Okay, seems like it's such an easy pose, but there's really 1,000 details going on. So just check that your feet are flexed, pinky toes are drawing back towards you. Okay, well, let's reach the arms forward, like an extended prayer. Our left hand is going to stay there. We'll just twist and reach our right arm back. And we'll attempt to just get our arm straight behind us, but you're going to notice there's this point where it just won't go anymore. When you get to that point, try to sit a little taller, look back at your right thumb, and just eke out that last little inch. It's still not going to be 180 degrees with the arms, but we just get that extra little bit. And you should feel that in your ab muscles. Let's unravel ourselves, and we'll just try the other side. So the right arm will stay facing front. We'll sit up as tall as we can, and we'll start to twist. Take your time. Each breath, you can get a little taller on your inhale. You can get a little more twisty on your exhale. And just keep feeling it in your abs. With your left leg, you're gently pushing forward so that you can twist against that. Good. And let's unravel ourselves. Oh, Lordy, shake out arms. More than I bargained for. That's sort of like the name of my album, my book, my life. Let's bend that right knee. We're going to go to like a maybe Marichyasana C or maybe a prep for it. So the ball of this right foot has to be down. If this knee starts dropping out, you're not going to be able to hug the knee close to your body. So push the ball of the foot down, keep this knee in as you bring your left arm around it. The right fingers can just be on the floor behind you, helping you sit tall. If you want more, hook your arm outside of your leg. And just like in your lunge twist, you want your armpit real close to your thigh. If this is going well and you want more, reach your left thumb in front of your shin bone, like it's going to graze your foot, and you'll bend your elbow in front of your shin. At that point, lifting up the right hand is easy because you're already stuck in your twist. So regardless of what you've chosen, let's try to look back at that, like toward the back of the mat. We'll take one more breath here. And let's unravel ourselves. Oh, Lordy. Okay. I think what we'll do next, we're going to get there a different way than what I initially planned. So from here, we're going to try. If you have knee problems, this is not how you're going to go. We're going to try to get our butt off the ground first. So you're in essentially a half squat. So meet me here if you can. All I did was use my fingers to push me up and forward. So my right leg is in a squat, but my left leg is out of the picture and my hands are helping. Then we're going to try to bring our left foot to the floor underneath us. So we lifted our butt and we slid that left foot in. From here, right hand to hip, left hand to yogi toe lock grip on your big toe. And we'll start to come all the way up to standing, holding our grip. Another way would be to just stand up like a normal person, take your foot with your hand and attempt to kick forward. That will work. We'll all end up in the same place. It's all just choreography. Once you're standing and you have the grip you are on your foot, take it out to the side. Good. 2 more breaths there. We'll bend into that left leg for tree pose. Place the sole of the foot on your leg, hands to prayer. We're going to do one more standing balance before we get out of balances. So if you need to do something different with your arms, besides what I'm going to say, then just hold on to the counter or whatever. We're going to bring our right arm under the left, palms as close together as they can go. Then we'll slide our left thigh on top of our right and maybe hook the foot behind the ankle. This is eagle. If you're in eagle and you're comfortable, try to get your elbows higher up off your chest and your thumbs away from your face a little bit more. Squeeze your legs together if you're in eagle. Okay, good. Let's slowly unravel ourselves. We'll rise up with our arms and just fold forward for your exhale. Move through Vinyasa at your pace, or just find a way to sit on your butt, because we're going to wind up meeting on our butts very soon. Okay. So we did our little twisty on the other side. This time we'll do a twist, but a different way. So we're going to widen our feet to mat's width. Feet flexed. Press your calf muscles into the floor. And as soon as you press your calves down, your thighs are going to work. And if you look down, depending on your pants, you can actually see some like little muscular outlines. This would be like, I'm watching Netflix. This would be like, okay, something's about to happen. So my spacing is a little tight. This is the nature of yoga at home. So you might have to bend your elbows at some point to avoid hitting things in your house. We're just going to twist right, and with our left pinky finger, we're going to reach over that pinky toe edge of the foot. Then we'll come up again to center. And we'll head to the other side. So it's a little dive and a twist at the same time. And we'll come up again through center. It'll be an exhale as we twist and dive, an inhale as we come up. So go at whatever pace you want, but don't let your legs forget their job. If your legs are weak and you're not paying attention to them, the fold is going to be precarious. It's not going to feel nice. It's going to feel like kind of dangerous and sloppy. So the twist and the fold are important, but they're not as important as the legs. Every pose starts with the foundation, whatever's touching the floor. So the legs are more important than everything else in this pose. Good. So after your next journey to the left, come back through center. Holy moly, release your arms. That was, again, more than I bargained for. So let's bring our left leg in for Marichyasana side 2. So if you have no knee issues, you're going to get your left heel real close to your butt. If this is too much, bend in your knee, then just have it further forward. No big deal. But if you're ever going to bind it, it has to be real close. Then we hug into our twist. So it's that right arm wrapping around the left leg. If you want, you'll hook the arm. If you want, you'll try your bind. But the bind will only really work, your hands will only connect if your armpit is very close to your thigh. And that kind of thing we practice from a lunge because it's just easier from a lunge. Once you get your butt on the ground, there's not quite as much wiggle room to establish all that stuff. Good. So no matter what's happening with your twist, pay attention to your right leg. Flex that foot a little more. Press the calf down. Good. Let's slowly get out of there. We'll come into our little half squat situation. So your left heel is already on the floor. Just try to keep it there as you lift your butt, like maybe an inch or two, and slide your weight forward. So now I have my butt off the ground, but my left heel still on the ground. Ideal. And when you can start lifting your butt up, your left leg will straighten, your right foot will just slide in under the hip. Reach for your big toe with the first two fingers and thumbs. Left hand to hip, and we come to standing. And if that's not a good way for you to get to standing, just stand up and then take hold of the foot. You can also take hold of the shin. Or you might be holding the foot with a bent knee. Don't really matter. But your shoulders are over your hips. That matters. Belly is drawing in, crown of head to ceiling. Let's take the right leg to the right. If your balance is good, look to the left. Carolyn, a little more point on your foot, a little more Barbie action with that ankle. Okay, into tree we go. Tree is kind of like warrior two in the way that this knee kind of wants to drop in, but you can't let it. You got to keep it pushing back. Good, and then either staying there or you're going to bring your left arm under the right. You might do like a whipping. You might also give yourself a hug instead. And then if you want eagle legs, right on top. Hook as close to your crotch as you can so that you have the option of putting your foot behind your ankle if you so choose. Good. Those of you comfy in eagle, try to lean the shoulders back just a smidge so that you're a little more straight. Good. And let's slowly unravel ourselves. We'll reach up for an inhale. And let's fold for the exhale. We'll meet in downward dog, so perhaps do your vinyasa. For a long time, I've been doing a chaturanga with my knees down because my shoulders hurt. But just recently, I started being able to do it with knees up again. So we'll see how long that lasts. And let's come forward onto our butts again. Straighten out the legs. Hands anywhere that you want them to be so that you feel supported with your upper body. All we're going to do is press our left leg more into the ground so that our right leg can lift. It's fun, right? Let's change sides. Right leg is going to push down so that the left leg can lift. Okay, good. And let's return to the first side. This time, we're going to bend our right leg so that we're bringing our foot toward our hand, and then we'll kick. Twist back, look back, kick into that hand. Okay, we're going to untwist for a version of sort of pigeon, but not quite. So figure four, ankle on lower left thigh, lean back for support and bend your left leg so that the sole of your foot is on the floor. You decide how close do you put it to your butt, and you decide how much do you walk your chest toward your shin. So you can be very pancaked here, like this is kind of as pancaked as you can get. I'm like wrapping my arms around my leg. Or you can be a little more splayed out. But just feel something in this right hip, that's all. Okay, good. Then let's straighten out that left leg again, and either Janu A, which is right sole of foot on left thigh. This is like your tree pose, but folding forward. Or Janu C, which nobody likes, and maybe I'll be the only one to do it. So that is right hand to pinky toe side of foot. You pull your knee back and you bring the ball of your foot toward your inner left thigh so that the arch is cradling this thigh. The heel is above the ball of the foot. And then the knee is kind of tracking with those center toes. This is weird for knees and ankles and arches. If you're like a waitress and you stand a lot, this might like rip your arch apart. So you got to like really go slow and maybe only do like one breath for the first couple months that you try it, because all those foot muscles have to be okay with this. Okay, and then it's the same fold, whether you're in Janu Shirasana A or C, it's the same fold. Okay, so I talked my way through that. Let's slowly get out of there. Extend that right leg out and just windshield wiper the legs for a sec. Okay, so now that right leg is going to push so that the left leg can lift. But if I just reach, I'm not going to quite grab hold of the foot because the leg is longer than the arm. So bend your left leg a little bit, give your foot to your hand, and then kick. Twist back. And in a pose like this, obviously it's easier to cheat that, but if we get into the habit of letting the leg bend to give ourselves the foot, when we get to some harder poses, it makes it a little more accessible. Okay, and let's unravel. We'll place the ankle on the lower thigh. Pancake sitting pigeon thing. Propping yourself up with your fingers. And notice this is also a little bit like a squat prep. So if you have tight Achilles, if you bring your heel close to your butt, you're going to feel it maybe in the Achilles, which will later on, maybe not today, but eventually, it's going to help in squats. Squats are very useful in real life when the ground is dirty or muddy and you don't want to sit down. At the dog park, lots of squatting because you don't want to necessarily stand the whole time, but everything's gross. You can't sit. Okay, we'll extend that right leg out again. And we'll either put our left foot at the right thigh or we'll reach for our Janu Shirasana C, where we essentially lift the heel up over the ball of the foot so that we have some verticality. That left knee squeezes in and we fold. If you're in Janu C, you're going to feel your left heel kind of digging into your guts a little bit at the belly button. That's normal. That's good. That's stimulating digestion. Also, I think it helps my back issues sometimes because you're essentially like supporting your back from the front. Okay, good. And let's slowly unravel ourselves. We'll bring both legs out straight again. And let's lean back a little bit so we can lift both legs up. Navasana. We'll just stare at our toes. You can have your knees bent if you want. You can hold on to your legs if you want. Just balancing on your butt. We'll just take 2 more breaths. Good. And let's vinyasa. We can just cross the ankles, lean forward, step it back. Okay, right foot forward. left knee down. Lizard, like how we did it before, we're going to spin our right foot out. This time, maybe you'll come down to your elbows because you have maybe a little more hip mobility than earlier. No need to come to your elbows if it doesn't feel good, though. This pose should feel kind of chill. Then once you decide about your arms, just bend your left leg and bring your heel in toward your butt. So now your left hamstring is working to bring your foot in. When you want to, if you want to, reach right arm to the foot. Because it came in, there's not too crazy of a reach. You can grab it with your arm. And then, if possible, pull your heel all the way to your left sitting bone. So think of this as a little choo-choo train. You get off at the stop you want to get off at. It should still feel good. Don't go crazy. If it doesn't feel good, it's not the right pose for you at this moment. Okay, let's let go of that back leg. We're going to spin our right foot to face front again, hand to either side of the right foot, and we'll straighten that right leg so we're in a half split, supported by our left knee. As you feel ready, today or whenever, you're just going to creep your left knee further back and your right foot forward, and you'll wind up deeper in a split. Still facing front. Still with the left hip as far front as the right hip. So for many of us, that means our pelvis is off the ground. I think my pelvis is maybe like 4 inches off the ground right now. If I had a blanket, I could wedge it under my right leg. But the blanket is on the other side of the room. Ain't no way I'm going over there for it. So I'm just going to hold myself up with my arms. Okay, so in a moment we're gonna go through a vinyasa again. Some of you might want to arm balance out of this. The arm balance out of this is where we kind of return to our Anjane. We slip this right arm underneath the right leg so that the shoulder's by the inside of the knee. Lift the left knee, lift the right leg like I'm in a split again. Then I just chaturanga my arms, lean forward, and the left leg lifts. Then you just chaturanga from there. So that's Kaundinyasana. I've heard it called like a arm balance split because the legs do have to do a lot of reaching. And it's just a way to transition with kind of minimal futzing around. Okay. Let's step our left foot forward so that we can lower our right knee. Lizard, left toes turn out. We let our knee drop away from our body. We just kind of chill. We're just stretching into the right hip flexors. Maybe we come to our elbows. We try to get our left elbow to weigh as much as the right elbow. That indicates that your hips are square. And when you're ready, bend your right knee so that your heel comes close to you. Left arm reaches around, grab your foot. And if your thigh says it's okay, pull it into your butt cheek. So split is 50% this stretch and 50% hamstring stretches. Okay, let's get out of there. We'll face front again with that left foot. We'll straighten the left leg. So we're in half split, Ardha Hanumanasana, or slide it apart. Any amount. Keeping the integrity of those square hips, because otherwise you're just going to negate that stretch for the right hip flexors, and that's sort of a waste of time. We've made all this effort to clear 90 minutes in our Monday morning. We might as well get this shit right. I'll never forget the dance teacher in New York that just kept yelling at us all the time. You paid me. You arrived at class. Now do right. And he would yell so much people would cry, but by golly, we would get better. Okay, so we're going to meet in down dog. If you're looking for the arm balance, creep your feet in closer together just so that you have more ability to use your feet to launch you into it. Left shoulder goes underneath the left knee as much as you can, and then lift the right knee so you just don't have to bother with it later. Start creeping the left foot forward until eventually it lifts off the ground. So now the only thing still on the floor is the right foot. So we'll bend our right elbow, catch our ribs, lean forward, and lift the right foot. It's a lot of leaning forward, probably more than is emotionally comfortable. Physically, not a problem. Emotionally, big problems. Good. And then fling that left foot to chaturanga. When we meet in downward dog. Okay, let's rock forward to plank and come down to our bellies. We're going to bend our knees and catch our ankles. If you can't, maybe go one at a time. Once you get your grip, start to push your pubic bone down and lift your chest and shoulders up. Let your thighs maybe lift up. Good. Roll your shoulders back so you feel your chest pop forward a little more. Good. And let's come on down. We're going to bring our right arm out to the side, about shoulder height, maybe eyeball height, and roll over onto your right arm. Your left hand and your feet can help you negotiate how far you want to go. Okay, and we'll come through center over to the other side. Try to relax a little bit in that left shoulder. It will make for a little bit more flexibility, a little more range of motion. Okay, we're going to come back through center, and we're going to try our bow pose one more time. So before we do anything with the legs and the hands contacting each other, put your hands under your shoulders, drag your ribs forward an inch and then up. Roll the shoulders back and then place the lowest ribs down again. So we just kind of did a little more stretchies for the abs. Then roll the shoulders back so you feel your shoulder blades moving toward each other. Then kick yourself in the butt with your heels. Then reach back. Once you get your grip, now start kicking. Hopefully the shoulders now are a little more established so that you can feel benefits. The more you kick, the more the stretchy. The gaze here is down the tip of the nose. So essentially you're just looking to the floor like maybe 12 inches in front of you. If you really look at the nose, you're going to be cross-eyed. We're not that kind of Ashtangi. We're going to be normal Ashtangis. And let's slowly unravel ourselves. Hands under the shoulders, a little up dog or cobra for an inhale, and a little down dog for the exhale. And let's just pedal out the feet a little bit so that we get each heel to touch the floor. Okay, and let's come to stand on the knees. You might want to pad up. We're not going to be here for too long, but if you have sort of a thin mat, it's not going to feel great. Let's just do robot arms. And like we did at the very beginning, we're going to roll our shoulders forward and up as if our elbows are going to touch each other behind us. And we'll just do that again. Big drama with the elbows. Una vez más. Okay. Then place the hands on the hips. Nudge the hips forward, and any amount start to arc back. Maybe let your head go. Maybe hold on to your heels. The gaze is still at the tip of the nose. Now that basically means the ceiling above you. And let's rise up so that we can just have a seat in toe crunch. So toe crunch is basically this foot position, just this normal thing you just did, but then your butt goes onto your heels. So it looks like back from behind. Yes, like that. So this is one of the ways that you can get your foot ready for that Johnny Shirsasana C pose that we did. Because the arches of the feet, the muscles need to stretch. And if toe crunch is painful, it has to maybe be done with your butt not on your feet. But over time, that's going to allow you to do Johnny Shirsasana C. Okay. Let's come through squat onto our butts. So if it's appropriate for your knees, you just kind of pop back. You lower your heels down and lean your body forward. And then we'll bring our butt to the ground. So that we can lay back, and we're going to use our elbow situation in our little back bends from our back. So feet kind of close to your butt. Robot arms, so elbows close to the ribs, palms face in. And do that little rolly thing you did. It will be kind of weird because the floor's there, but just imagine it. And poke your elbows into the mat by your ribs. Lift your hips. Keep pushing with your elbows down into the mat. With your triceps, you're going to feel your chest pop up a little bit more. And that extra space is going to let your hips go up a little bit more. And you're just going to feel a whole lot more back bend. We call this shoulder loop, the thing you're doing with your shoulders that's helping you get that support. Okay, let's slowly come on down. And either do that again or head toward your Urdhva Dhanurasana. So either way, you're going to push into your feet, get your hips up. If you want Urdhva, you'll come onto the top of your head. You'll make sure your elbows are over your wrists. And then you'll straighten your arms. You got to start your Urdhvas with your elbows over your wrists because otherwise the shoulder loop will be impossible. The alignment is important for making things easier. Good. And let's come on down. We're going to do Uno Mas. There's people outside of my house looking at trees. Okay, one more. Push into your feet. Hips up as high as you can. If you're in Setu Bandha, you might want to interlace your hands under your back and push into the edge of your hand. Good. 2 more breaths. Try to feel that stretch in the hip flexor like you did when you were in split. Good. And come on down. All right. Let's bring our knees into the chest. We'll just hold the kneecaps with the hands. We'll exhale to pull the knees close. Inhale, push the knees away. And just a few like that so that you kind of get into your back again. Make it know that you still love it. Okay. The next time that your knees are close, we're going to lift our head and shoulders, do a little sit-up. And just extend your left leg out. And lift your right leg up to the ceiling and hold on to your calf muscle. With 2 little sharp exhales, you're going to essentially push your shin bone toward your face. Exhale, exhale. And then we'll switch sides. Left shin, exhale, exhale. The inhale switches the leg. Exhale, exhale. Inhale to switch. Exhale, exhale. And just continue this a few more times. If you can, come up a little bit higher so that you're using a little more ab. And then let's release back down, head and shoulders down. We'll bring the knees to the right, either right hand to the thigh or to the foot, or you want to kick maybe. And we'll bring it through center over to the other side. Okay, and we'll bring it through center. Hold on to the shin bones. Again, lift your head and shoulders up. We'll start to rock. We're just going to go from the shoulder blades to our sitting bones. Maybe like 7 times. And if you can round your back here, you're going to feel a little bit of a massage. The next time that you're up on your butt, we'll stay like that. We'll find our Navasana. Legs straight or bent, holding on or not. Good. Gently place the soles of the feet together with your heels as close to your pelvis as you feel comfortable. We inhale, and as we fold, we open the feet like a book. Bring our chest toward our toes. Sometimes it's nice to put a block here so that your head can rest. It would, if you're doing that, it would be the third eye between the eyebrows contacts the block. You could also stack your hands so that your third eye is on your hand. You could put your elbows down and have your thumb there. Good. And let's rise up. Ardha Matsyendrasana. So this left leg is going to come underneath us, so the knee faces front. The right leg is going to come over that. If it's too much bend in the left knee, just straighten the leg. We'll hug the knee to the left shoulder and twist. If the hug is going well, hook your arm instead. If the hook is going well, reach for your foot instead. Then once you get established with your arm, make sure your right butt cheek is still on the floor. Sometimes we do this leany thing, but lean back to your neutral. Don't keep the lean. And then instead of looking back like we normally would, let's look forward and left. So now your chin is moving toward your left shoulder. And just notice how that stretches your right side of neck a little bit differently. You might want to drop your chin toward your body. You might want to lift it up a little bit. The neck stretch will be different depending on what you choose. Okay, let's unravel ourselves. Double pigeon right leg on top. Shin bones stack. And if you want to make it a little bit harder, hard today anyway, but if you want to make it harder, you're going to add a twist. Right arm to the left so that your elbow or tricep is in the arch of the foot. So the right leg is on top and then the twist goes left. Because then you're prepping yourself for dragonfly arm balance, which we're not doing today, but maybe we'll do it some other time. And then, whatever you do today is prepping you for months from now. And let's slowly get out of there. Any legs you want, we're going to practice lifting our butt. I'm going to do it from lotus because it's easier. You could also just do it from crisscross applesauce. You can have blocks underneath your hands if you want, or just put your hands under your thighs, lean forward, and just practice like 3 times. Lift your butt, your arms get straight, bend your elbows, your butt comes down again. 2 more times. And if you're in lotus, your legs are going to lift up easily. Last time, if you're not in lotus, your butt will still lift, but your legs will probably not lift so easily. Okay, let that go. And we'll just do our Ardha Matsyendrasana side tilt. So maybe wiggle your legs a bit, make sure your knees are okay. Then right leg comes under, left comes over. Hug the left knee to the right shoulder, twist. And earlier we did a lunge. I said roll the thigh flesh in. I do the same exact thing here. I roll the flesh of the thigh in, and then I try to get my belly and my right boob outside of the leg, because then I have more opportunity to reach for the foot with the hand. Good. And then instead of looking back like we normally would, we're going to look forward and maybe look down or up. Just find that sweet spot for your neck. then you can roll. You gotta wait for the season. Okay, and we'll unravel ourselves so that we can find our double pigeon left leg on top. This is very similar to those that figure 4 thing we did before. So feel free to do that instead, or regular pigeon, or whatever suits you. If you're sliding your arm over your arch, you might even go to the point where your elbow's on the ground and your shoulder is in your arch. That seems to be as low as it can go because then the floor blocks you. Sometimes folks do a prayer. I'm usually too lazy to do a prayer. I just usually leave my forearm on the ground. Okay. And we're going to slowly unravel ourselves so that we can make some choices about our legs. Either crisscross applesauce, lotus weird way, left leg will be on top this time. But really our goal is to get our butt up and down. And you're going to have to lean forward to make that happen. And just recognize your elbows are bent. And then your arms get straight and your butt is up. Elbows bend, butt is down, arms are straight, butt is up. One more time. Good. And then unravel yourself and let's vinyasa, cleanse the palate. Okay. So we're going to head to headstand. But when you're up there, I'm going to suggest some things that you may or may not want to do. But don't worry, just move slow and you'll roll with it. And we'll be heading towards some hip stretches while you're there. Don't worry. Headstand. I'll see you up there. I'm just going to watch. There's not going to be anything to see. So don't worry about what direction you're facing. I'll say things like right and left. I'll say things like foot and thigh, like bend and straighten. So you know those words. And this way you don't have to look at your screen because it's real hard to look at a screen while you're upside down. And if you're not comfortable upside down, then of course, before you start messing around with legs, you just kind of work on that aspect of it. Those of you that are comfy, let's put your right ankle on your lower left thigh. Then start to bend your left leg. So you're essentially bringing yourself into a hip stretch. Your shin bone's going to get quite close to your chest, and you're going to keep your balance. And then we'll start to rise up, and then just try the other side. Side 2 will either be better or worse than side 1, but don't worry about it. You're just going in your range, and you're moving slow enough to keep the balance. Nice. Now, Santosha, as you're lifting your legs, get heavier in your elbows. Yes, just keep digging them elbows into the floor, and then your legs will be free to do all kinds of things. Good. And then let's all start to come down nice and slow. Rest for a moment. And we're going to come into one more inversion. And when we're in this next inversion, we'll do splits. It can be done from headstand or shoulder stand. So just make a choice which you want to do. It's not going to matter in the scheme of prepping for anything else because it's going to essentially be the last thing. So either headstand or shoulder stand. I'll meet you up there. And again, you won't have to see your screen. I'll just talk you through it. Okay, so your right leg is going to stay where it is, basically glued to the ceiling. And let's start to lower the left leg toward the floor as far as it can go so that you essentially wind up in a split. The top leg has to be stronger than you ever thought in order to not kind of collapse out of the balance. Good. And then let's very slowly try the other side. And Carol, try to keep your top leg a little bit more vertical and not quite as close to the wall. That's going to make you work your abs a lot more. And Santosha elbows in. That was good though. Nice. Woo woo. I love it. And then whenever you feel even on both sides, we just slowly get out of there and we chill for a sec in child's pose. Good. And let's roll ourselves up out of there so that we can just straighten our legs and fold with some support. So maybe hands on thighs, kind of like elbows on thighs, so you can be like a little more chilling. Sometimes I'll hold the edges of my feet, but then put my elbows in at my shins so that I can't really go as far into the fold and I feel supported from the hands. So just find a way to fold so that you don't feel like it's like anarchy. You are supporting yourself on the way down. And let's start to come up so that we can very slowly come down to our back. So first we're just going to go like halfway down to this no man's land, chin to the chest. Legs are reaching forward. We'll come down a little bit more. And then we'll come down the rest of the way so that we can set up for Shavasana, whatever you need to do with your legs so that you have no back pain. My Shavasana in the United Lounge of the Houston airport was one of the best Shavasanas I've ever had in my life. I had my feet up on the chair. I was like in the corner, kind of wedged away from everyone. So my feet were up and my legs were like 90 degrees bent. My back felt amazing. Had a rag on my face. So make yourselves comfortable. And just let those exhales make you heavier. Let's take a few more breaths here. Without moving anything, just enjoy that heaviness. Essentially, we are practicing how to inhabit the body, this particular body that we've been given for this 100 years if we're lucky. Let's start to wiggle fingers and toes. We'll bring the knees in. With the eyes closed, just somehow make your way to sitting. We'll just take a few breaths sitting up. And observe yourself from the ceiling, from the side, a third party observer. This body is taking a breath. This body is sitting upright. And start to create that gentle distance. You are not your body. You are enjoying your body. You are taking care of it because it is the tool through which you can experience this world. Let's bring our hands together and we'll just fold forward to seal it in. Namaste.